Okay, what's up guys? This is Brian, and today let's talk about bending on electric guitar. What it is essentially bending a note from below and hitting the target note. Usually this is done in half steps, full steps, or even 1.5 steps. And the reason why we should practice this is because in a lot of pop and rock music or blues, they do a lot of bending. For example, you would have heard guitar licks like these. This kind of sound is really distinctive on the guitar. It's one of the best features of a stringed instrument. And that's because you can't really do it on an instrument like a piano. So really you should be proud of it as a guitarist. First of all, we need to understand what makes it harder or easier to bend on the guitar. It's harder to bend towards the nut of the guitar, maybe over here on the 3rd fret, compared to, let's say, the 12th fret. And the reason for that is because the string tension is the highest around here and also around here towards the bridge. And so the midpoint is supposed to be on the 12th fret. So bending around this area is a bit easier to start off with compared to, let's say. Second reason for that also is because the frets are a bit bigger on these kind of Fender style, Strat style guitars. And the frets get considerably smaller as you go up. So here's a few quick exercises to get you started. We're gonna try and bend on the 2nd string and the 3rd string. It's always a good idea to play the target note first. So let's say we're in D minor. So think of the D minor pentatonic. Okay. And let's say we want to bend from the C up to a D. I would always, when practicing, play the D first. That's where we want to get to. And bend it from the C. So that will result in a full step bend. Think about the speed of the bend. It can be really quick. So that in that case, you don't really have time to kind of check whether you need to go any higher or lower. It has to be very precise. If it's a slow bend, for example, you've got a little bit of time to adjust. The kind of the same thing on the 2nd string. Okay, let's play the A. And we want to bend it from the G on the 3rd string. And we can also work on half steps. For example, we want to get to the C on the 2nd string from the B, which is a half step below it. So in this half step bend exercise, you need to be careful not to overbend, because you're so used to bending full steps. On this guitar, I've got a set of 11s on, so it's a little bit harder, but I would suggest starting off on a set of 10s or even 9s. Same thing on the 3rd string. So we can go from the G to the A flat. And before I go into a bit of insight as to why I picked those places to practice the scale, we can attempt a 1.5 step bend, okay, kind of a David Gilmour style. So let's go from the B, second string, to the D. Just about. And I wouldn't recommend doing this on like a first string because you can easily snap it, or on a third string it's pretty hard as well, from the G to B flat. Yeah, notice how I kind of moved the guitar neck as well whilst I'm bending. So you're putting a lot of, not a lot of force, but a lot of motion into it. Because it's done so quickly, you don't really, as usual, you don't really want to put too much force, too much energy, but you should focus on the motion of it, to make it more efficient, and a little bit of technique just before I go into why I picked those places. When I'm bending, usually I bend on the third finger. I've seen some people do it with the fourth finger. That's not really my style. And when I'm bending on the third finger, notice how my thumb comes around the neck, like this. And it acts as sort of like a lever, okay? All of this bit is touching the back of the neck. But notice that my thumb doesn't always stay there. Let's say if I'm playing single lines, my thumb is behind the neck, but as soon as I bend, it just kind of automatically comes over the neck. When I'm bending, I always use the previous two fingers, or at least one, the one behind the finger that's bending, as a support finger, because I don't want the third finger on its own. So I've got a bit more support, and I'm using the whole hand rather than using just the finger. And I find working this way for a lot of other techniques as well, like slides or something like that. I rarely just use one finger on its own, but rather have the whole hand, put the whole hand into it. That way, collectively, all your muscles work a bit stronger and a bit more efficiently. Yeah, so the reason why I picked those kind of places on the guitar is because I'm essentially adding notes into the pentatonic scale to make it another scale. We talked about this for the blues scale, so going from the G to the A flat is actually bending into the blues note. Okay, if you want to skip the blues note, you can bend a full step. Okay, and when I did the B natural on the D minor, okay, this kind of sound is a D minor 13 chord, so it's the natural 6. In other words, the mode for it will be Dorian. More on this in another whole series of videos about modes. Okay, in E minor it will sound. And you can mix the two together like a blues Dorian feel together. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and comment down below if you've got any questions. So I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.